y'all, it's Betsy with Happily Ever After, etc. and welcome back to another resin project. So today we are doing two fancy things. We are making the cutest little bumblebees out of resin that you've ever seen. I'm making a cute sign with my Cricut and I need a bumblebee to go on it. So we'll be pouring little bumblebees with iridescent flakes because I want their wings to shimmer. And then we will paint them once they're cured, top coat them with a layer of resin. But second fancy thing is that I have this new machine from Resiners. They sent it to me to try out. I've seen it on YouTube, on Instagram, on Facebook. I've heard good things about it. It is a bubble removing machine, which you guys know with resin is super important. So it's basically a little version of a pressure pot, which is exciting because I've always wanted a pressure pot, but of course they're a little intimidating and a little expensive. This one was a lot more affordable. So we're going to try it out with our resin today and see how it does. Very, very excited for that. The third exciting thing, which is less relevant to this video, but this is my first project in my new workshed. You guys have been following along with the workshed journey. You guys know it has been a year since it was installed and it's finally been painted, my workbench built, and my pegboards put up so that I can finally use it for woodworking and resin projects. Today, we are finally pouring a resin project in the shed. No more front porch resin pouring projects. So we are going to put this aside for just a minute and start by unboxing this bad boy. It's nicely packaged, which is always exciting. As a graphic designer, packaging is very exciting to me. So this is the Airless Lite. I think it takes about 15 minutes to run. It's supposed to remove all the bubbles from your resin, which is great when you're pouring any resin, but especially deeper pours. So here's the top. Here's the bottom. Here's our power cord. There we go. It says it's supposed to eliminate 99% of bubbles, which would be amazing. We've got lots of little cups, but I've got this one today. We don't need too much resin for today's project. And I think that this is as easy as screwing the top on, plugging it in, and hitting that button. But let's read the instructions. Oh, it has a giant QR code. Please scan the QR code to view the instructional video or read the instructions. So it says to take off the top, put your mixed resin into the container. Do not mix resin too full. Half of the cup is recommended. So we can mix about half of this cup. So we might need a slightly bigger cup depending on how much resin we're doing. Otherwise, it may spill out while vacuuming or bubbles may be stuck inside due to resin overheating. Okay? Put the head on, plug in the silicone cover, press the power button, and the indicator light will turn on. You'll observe the process of the degassing after the machine has operated. In general, it takes about 10 minutes for 100 to 200 milliliters of resin. Wait until the bubbles have completely risen to the surface. Press the power button again to stop the machine. Note, it is normal for a small amount of bubbles to remain on the surface. Once the pressure is released, the bubbles will dissipate. That's important to notice. Okay, so then it says number 5, unplug the machine and wait about 10 seconds before releasing the pressure. So it has this little hole on the back, similar to an air fryer or a pressure cooker, You'll want to release the pressure. It's going to be building in here before taking the top off. Take out the mixing cup and pour your resin into your molds. Okay. So, a couple tips that I read about before we got started is that you do want to work with warm resin if it is really cold outside and you're not keeping your resin at room temperature, which is recommended. You'll want to warm up your resin before you get started. I've done that in the past when my resin got a little too cold. I left it on the front porch by just getting a pot of warm water and putting your buckets of resin in that warm water to heat it up from the outside, similar to how you would heat up a baby bottle. So you want to start with room temperature resin. It's always important for no bubbles, but seems like it is more important with this machine. So out here in the shed, I've got a little generator guy for my new air bubble machine and my heat gun, which hopefully we will need less of now that we have a new bubble removing device. Of course, if you're not working in a shed with no power, you can just plug this into the wall. Perfect. So we're going to go ahead and get started mixing our resin. Let's see. One of these cups is 400 milliliters, and this cup is about 2/3 of that. So half of this cup will be about maybe 200 milliliters, probably more like 150. So I think we're going to go with the big one, and we're going to mix half of this 200 milliliters, which is what I think we'll need for our bee. Let's see how it goes. Let's go ahead and just move this guy up here. I thought it would screw on, but it just presses on. It has like a seal underneath. And let's just press on. Yeah, that's interesting. Okay. So, as always, when mixing resin, we are going to put on our gloves. And to put on our respirator. Oops, I have my extra filter in there. I just brought all my resin stuff out to the shed, so it's a little discombobulated. And we're going to start pouring. So, do 100A and 100B and then mix them together for 3 minutes, the same as always. I need new jugs of resin, so we're going to go ahead, take these tops off to pour the resin. Whew. Because the pumps are too short to pump the very bottom. Whew. Let's add in our iridescent flakes. I love these. So pretty. And thoroughly mix for 3 minutes, making sure we're scraping the sides and the bottom without lifting our stir stick up too much. All right, so we can see all of those bubbles that are in here. So let's go ahead. Let's get it put in our fancy new machine and see how this goes. So remove our stir stick. Set this down in the middle. Put this firmly in place. Plug it in. And now we hit the button. Constantly popping bubbles, but it's been running for about 20 minutes now, so we've got to get this resin poured. We can go ahead and stop the machine. And now we are going to pull this little pressure pen. Watch those bubbles go away. Isn't that fun? Oh. All right, take that top off. That's pretty good. This bubble, well, that's pretty accurate. This resin was really bubbly. So while I still do see those bubbles on the top that it talked about, hopefully we got most of them. So let's go ahead and pour this in our mold slowly and see what we get. I think part of that might be the iridescent flakes. They are literally bubble makers. They just agitate the resin so much. So we're going to make sure our mold is level. We're going to pour in a thin stream into the first bee. We really only need one bee, so see how far this resin goes. Definitely want to try this bubble remover machine with just clear resin without the flakes and see how that does as well. Well, this is pretty good for iridescent flake resin. It's not as bubble free as I was hoping. That's pretty clear through here though. Let's go ahead and fill it to the top, and then we'll leave it to cure for 24 hours and unmold it tomorrow. We definitely have enough resin for another bee. I'm going to use it for something else because I only need one bee. So I will see y'all tomorrow to unmold this and see how it does. All right, so our little bee is completely cured. You can see it's starting to separate, so we're just gonna peel him out. Oh, he's cute. Now he is frosted, which not really expecting, but that happens with these molds sometimes if they're not clear. It's okay because we are going to paint the stripes and then give them a clear coat, and that will shine up all this resin so that it's really cute. So let me grab my paint and we will get this guy painted. I don't know, I think I'm gonna do the top black with the antennas and a black stripe on his little body, and then yellow, 2 yellow stripes, 2 black stripes, bumblebee colors. And then I just want the wings to be that translucent, transparent color. So we're gonna do that with paint, and then like I said, clear coat this guy. The other way you could have done it is to paint all the details with like a mica powder. In this kind of a mold, I figured it'd be easier to paint it afterwards, especially because I really didn't want any transfer on those wings. So paint. All right, I've got some yellow and some black paint. I'm going to get started with the stripes. I'm not 100% sure if I'm going to have to let them dry in between, but this is not rocket science. We are just going to come in, paint the stripes. Sometimes you've got to do a couple layers to get a really opaque look. You know, it gets kind of translucent. But the nice thing is, while it does get a little translucent, if you get your paint on the wrong area or it doesn't look quite good, you can just use some water and a paper towel to wipe it off until you seal it in with resin. So that's easy enough. So see, that's a layer of black and it looks fine, but it doesn't look great. So we will have to probably do at least 2 layers. You can also see all these little holes. I'll try to cover those up. This is looking pretty solid. Just doing it extra thick. Of course, doing extra thick will take extra long to dry. Okay, well, I have to clean that up for sure. And this is not a, this is not rocket science. We're just painting the bee. We're just gonna get them all pretty. And then we'll seal them in with a layer of clear resin. Whew. So instead of a paintbrush, I should have brought some Q-tips out here to clean up the edges. But I didn't think about that when I was bringing things out to the work shed. And since I'm just getting the work shed set up, it's probably going to be a while before I remember, you know, all those things I would like to have stocked out here, like Q-tips. There we go. That's not a bad little layer. We're going to go ahead. We're going to do the whole top black. We're going to do every other layer yellow. And then I will be back to top coat this guy with you because it's going to take a while to paint. So give him a second. All right. Our bee is all painted. 2 coats. We might want to do another coat of the yellow, but honestly, I think once we put the resin clear coat on, it'll smooth it out. So I've just got some clear resin left over from another project. And we're just going to add a little bit to this guy. Just going to move this. Not that it would hurt it, but just don't need it. We're just going to put a little resin on and we're going to smear it around with our gloves. We definitely want to do this with gloved fingers until everything is covered. You can see how those wings are shining up and they're no longer matte, but pretty clear iridescent resin. Get a little more resin on my fingers and let's do the top. Oh, shine up that little bee. We do need to get down in all of these antenna pieces, and my fingers are a bit big, but maybe I can just get the glove in there. Oh yeah, that's gonna work. Weird, but it works. All right, I'll do the butt. Make sure your paint is really dry because you don't want to go smearing it and streaking it now. And we will let this guy cure. He's all shiny. And then he will be a shiny, glittery, beautiful bee for our sign. Or whatever you want to do with them. I'm putting him on a sign. Oh, he's so cute. All right, I got to go throw these gloves away. And I wash my hands even though I have gloves on just in case. And we will be back tomorrow for the final reveal. Although with such a clear coat, such a thin layer of resin, he probably will be done much sooner than tomorrow. I just had to put him on the sign. That is so cute. He is so three-dimensional. I love him so much. I wasn't sure if I really wanted to add, you know, extra paint and iridescent, but I love the wings. I love how they shine with those iridescent flakes. And I think while you could have easily cut the bee out of the vinyl for this sign and it would have been fine, I think the 3D bee is just so much cuter. So I hope you liked this project and I will see you in the next one. Bye.